everybody, Dizzy Crafter here with another episode of my 12 days of Christmas that I'm aiming to get at, and this is what we're going to be creating today. It's this gorgeous tag using Visible Image and Tim Holtz dies and just lots and lots of different products. It's a lovely mixed media tag that you can add on for a gift, or you could just use it as an ornament. You can use it whatever you like. So without further ado, let's get into how we're going to create it. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut out the tag, and I've used this one that's I got off eBay. It is a discontinued one, but I cut it out in mat board. Now Tim Holtz does have other tag ones that are finlets that won't cut out mat board, but you could just, if you wanted that thick substrate to the back, then you could actually just die cut several and glue them together. Otherwise just leave it as whatever you want, and you don't necessarily have to have this tag. You can buy the tags as well, so you do whatever you want to do. It doesn't even have to be a tag, it could be anything really that's you can make your own. And then I've also cut some of these out in the same mount board. So I'll try to get everything cut out ready, so I'm not having to go back and two to the die cut machine. I've just spent ages cutting loads and loads and loads of these snowflakes out. If you've not got this particular one, any snowflake dies will do. I mean, I did have some other snowflake dies that are cut out as well as these as well. And then I've cut out several of these tree branches and cones, and then that's basically all your cutouts you need, I think. So the first thing we're going to do is, as you can see, I've got lots of snowflakes I've cut out, and I've even used like the backs of my cereal card and stuff like that. And all I'm going to do is find a placement of where I want them and then glue these down. So not really thinking anything other than I don't want two snowflakes the same. I don't mind having them, want them coming off the page as well. So I do want some like different size snowflakes. I actually quite like that corner one. So I think that's probably going to be it. So what I'm going to do is just take my little glue and then glue this on, which I've just fast forward because you don't need to see that. I'm just going to give it a quick blast with the heat gun just to dry out the glue quicker. Once you're happy that that is dry, I'm just going to come in with the golden gesso and grounds. I'm still learning the terminologies of all these gessos and stuff, so I'm not quite with it as yet, but I'm getting the basics down. And we're just going to paint over this really with the gesso. I want getting all those nooks and crannies of all those snowflakes, and that's why I wasn't really too precious over if the snowflakes was glued down properly, because this is going to act as a glue type of thing anyway. So we're just going to speed through this now. Once you're happy with that, I'm just going to give it another blast with the heat tool. And then I'm going to come in with another coat of the gesso, and I'm just going to keep going doing the coats and drying until I'm happy with the white opaque. It doesn't have to be really white because we are going to be adding colour on this, so it's not like I have to be dead precious over the whiteness of it, but I just want it to capture the colour more. So the whiter it is, the brighter the colours will be that we're applying. Right, that's not completely dry, but I'm just going to try and let it dry a little bit more naturally. But these pieces we cut out with the chipboard. I want to paint these up. I'm not too sure which ones I'm going to use yet, so I'm just going to actually gesso the rest of them up rather than me keep having to clean up and so on and so on. So I'm just going to gesso all the pieces just exactly how we've just done that tag. For my colour, I'm actually going to be using these Dirty Gertie Drunken Dust, and I've got Lady Magenta and Green Mojito. And I'd never heard of brushos before. There wasn't really a thing that was about when I used to craft years ago, but apparently these are very similar to brushos and they work the same. And I will actually be using one of the brushos. I only actually own this one, and this is a Sprinklet and it's an iridescent flash, so this is going to add my glitter to the overall aesthetics. So first of all, I'm just going to spray some water over my tag now it's dry, or more or less dry, and then I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of powder. I'm not really thinking where I'm going, I'm just adding it as and where, really. There's no thinking about it. So just adding that, and then I'm going to come in with more water and spray it. And that green's a lot darker than I was anticipating. It's got lots of colours in it. You can see these blues, these yellows. It's such a cool colour. And I'm just going to move the colour but try not to muddy up any of the colours there. I think I'm going to add a bit more red. Just feel like it's missing that bit of red still. And we'll add a little bit of this green on that snowflake there and add some more water. Now you can keep on going with the water if you like, if it's too strong a colour for you. I kind of like that because I know once I take my kitchen towel in a sec, it's going to come off and it's going to be a much paler colour. So I'm just taking some cheap kitchen roll and I'm just going to dab and moving the colour so we're not contaminating, or trying not to contaminate it anyways. Right, I actually kind of like that look. It's still a little bit red and I'm still getting a little bit of movement, which is good. The explosion powders have actually picked up the brush strokes of when I've gessoed on, which I feel like is kind of cool because it gives it like a wood grain effect, especially if I'd have done it in browns. So with that, I'm just going to give it another blast with a heat gun. So it's not perfectly dry because I'm going to wet it in a sec anyway, but that's what we're going with. But I want to add this Sprinklet, so I'm just going to put a very fine mist over the entire thing, and then we're going to salt and pepper the tag and just let this Sprinklet land wherever it wants to land. And then I'm literally going to leave that to dry and carry on with the rest of the stuff, but hopefully you can pick up that glitter. And don't worry about these snowflakes, we can trim them off or we could actually leave them on. I kind of think I will leave them on for this one. Now I'm just going to work on the foliage, and I'm just using the VersaFine Clairs in Shady Lane and Rainforest. So I'm just going to go in with Shady Lane first, and I'm just using Lavinia Stamps stencil brush for this. You can use whatever you like really. I just wanted to get some colour on there quick, and I'm not bothered if I get brush marks because it just adds to that overall texture. And I want to come in with the darker green now. We're just going to do the branches as well. And then we're going to colour in the pine cones, and again I'm using the VersaFine Clay, and we're going to be using pine cone and acorn. I mean, you couldn't really make that up, could you? And I'm just going to do the same situation as I did with the branches, if I'm honest. Start with the lighter colour and just dab it as and where. And that's what they look like, but then we're going to emboss all of those pine cones in clear. Now for this I'm actually just using a very old Versamark. As you can see, it's still plenty of ink in it, but it is quite messy, shall we say. And I think I'll start using it with the bigger pieces. And I actually have this big tray of clear embossing powder. Now I'm not doing these finer branches, I want to keep them as they are, but these bigger pieces I do want these embossed. What I'm going to do is just dab this into the ink pad, and I'm not too fussed if it doesn't get every area, because it just gives it that even more of a rustic feel. And then I'm just going to pop it into my tray. You can see I've just popped it into there and dabbing it in. It's a bit awkward because of the size of this particular piece. And I'm just going to shake that off and give it a tap and move it over here, because we can continue to emboss everything. We don't need to heat gun everything as we go. We can just get all the powder on all the pieces, then we can do the embossing, except for the acorns, because I will do them separately because I want to triple emboss them. So that's those done. You can see it's got a nice gloss finish. Like I said, I'm not too sure which one of those pieces I'm going to use on this particular tag, but they will be used on other tags. So I'm going to do the acorns next, but I want to triple emboss these. So I'm literally going to, let's try and bring it into camera. So I'm just dabbing it in to the ink pad and placing them in there like so. I'm quick enough, hopefully I should be able to just manage to not have to ink them up again. But the trick is here as well, to get your heat gun going, which I don't know if you can hear it in the background, and then just keep dabbing it in. Let's take my first one. Oops. And this is the only one I'm going to work on. As you can see, it goes off really quick. I'm just dabbing it back in, give it a shake, the same again, give it a shake. And that's that one done. That's it for your triple embossing. Can get rid of this powder now. Then we've got these little berries that was made out of the chipboard again, and I'm just going to colour these in using Poppy from the Spectrum Noirs illustrators. And I'm not being too fussed about if the colour's correct or not, because we are going to go over this with glitter. I just want to make sure it's red all around. Just going to place these on this card, and then we're going to pop some glitter over the top. And the reason I put them in this card just so I can move them out of my way and they can just be drying. Now I'm using is this Nuvo glitter, and this one is called Winter Cranberry. Actually, I didn't know the name of it when I picked it up. It's just this was the only red one I had open, so I'm just gonna pop a little glitter on. Now we're going to be doing some stamping using this Visible Image Christmas Robin. I love this stamp. This was my first Christmas purchase of this year, and I just fell in love with this whole collection, and I thought with this tag these robins just go perfect. And I'm just going to use this little name here called saying Robin rather than Sending Love at Christmas. So let's get them stamped up. And when I'm doing these, I tend to use just my scrap pieces of card. This way it gets rid of all them scraps, because I just hoard so many and it just is getting beyond a joke now, to be honest. And I feel like we're going to go with the larger robin, and we're going to stamp him up with using the Nocturne in Versaclair. This is a permanent ink pad, so we are going to be coming in with some colouring, watercolouring, just for quickness. I mean, you can always use it for your alcohol markers, but you'd need a different ink pad, which I tend to use Memento. But for this, because we're using watercolours, that's why we're going with that. So I just need to make sure my robin fits on this scrap, and it does. And you just want to keep that in place for a while, because it's not a silhouette stamp, but there's an awful lot of black and an awful lot of detail. You don't want to miss that, so you give it a chance for that ink to soak into the card. You'll get a much better impression, hopefully. I'm saying that, watch it all go wrong now I'm on camera. I just tend to leave it there for about 30 seconds or so, just moving the pressure around the acrylic block. And the trouble is with these scraps, I'm not that organised where I put it. Certain cardstocks in scrap piles, I just throw all the white stock in one bag, so I have no idea what cardstock I'm actually using on, unfortunately. Let's give that a whirl. You can see stamps up beautifully, and I've only actually used this twice. It's only been in the last 24 hours I've used it, and every time it's stamped up beautifully, which is a sign of a good quality stamp. Then I'm just going to go in with the word Robin, and we're going to stamp that up. I'm just going to put it in the corner here. I don't see the point in wasting another scrap, although that's what they are for, scraps. There we go, stamped up lovely again. Right, and just to watercolour, all I'm going to do is take a Distress ink pads, and I'm just going to use them for watercolour. I have got pens, but I'm not bothering about all that. So I'm going to use Vintage Photo for the brown, and then we've got Fired Brick for the red robin's breast. I'm just going to put a little bit on there, and we'll do the brown first. I'm just going to spray that with water, mix that in, and then I'm just going to go over. I'll probably put a bit too much water down there, so I will add some more ink in a sec. That's better. And we're going to do the same with the red. Once that's dry, we're going to cut that out, but I'm just going to cut this word robin out for now. And I'm just going to have to cut it out by hand. I'm just going to edge it with this Distress Oxide. I just want to cut him out now. So I've cut the robin out, and you can see I'm not the best at cutting, and I've definitely left his legs too much white there. So my trick is just to get a similar colour. You can go with the black, I'm going with a brown just to add some extra colour, and I'm just going to go over them gaps so they're not as noticeable, and that way I can get a close cut around the robin rather than having that white line going round. Because although I like that effect on certain things, I feel with this tag it's not the look I was hoping for. And then again I'm just going to go around the edges with this brown, which is Bark EB6 if you're using these, and if you're wanting to follow me. There you go. So you'd have never really noticed, unless you're a crafter, that what I'd done there, and I've just filled in the legs. So, and as this ain't going to a crafter, it doesn't really matter. So I feel like we're probably at the construction, like we need to get it all together. On the tags I'd done previously, I hadn't left these hanging over, and now I think I am going to leave these hanging over on this particular one, because other things are going to be hanging over anyway, so it really makes no difference. I feel like that's more or less the placement I'm going to go with. And to stick it down, I'm going to be using the Pretty Gets Gritty Gel Medium. This is as far as we can go with it for now. I'm just going to do a few finishing touches in a bit, but I've just got to let that dry, so I'll come back to it in a couple of hours. Luckily for you, you won't need to wait that long, but stay tuned. Guys, I actually thought I was videoing the rest of what I'd done to this tag. Unfortunately, I really wish my camera would bleep when it's saying the memory card is full, because I just carried on rolling, nothing was said, and then I've gone to stop the recording and it had literally just done a few seconds. But I can talk you through what I did. It was nothing major. I basically have added a little bit of snow texture. I've created that by using this marble topping from Pretty Gets Gritty. I'm not quite sure what this is. It's very harsh. It's like stony, so I feel like it really gives that really cool icy look and feel, to be honest. I've added a little pearl bead here, which was from Dreamies, and it was the smaller set. So I got this kit a long time ago from Crafters Companion, and they've got all three different sizes in every colour, and I've just used the smaller one to add a little bit extra to the robin's eye. And then I've just added 2 colours of butcher's twine and some gold twine from Crafters Companion, and that's the tag. Oh, actually no, I die cutted another one of these tags out, but just in plain white card, nothing expensive card, and I've just glued that on the back and added some ink just so that it wasn't so ugly. I know we've got ugly bits here hanging over, but we've got somewhere nice to actually write if we want to write on the tag. So yeah, that was this little tutorial. I hope you've liked it, and I'd love it if you would please comment and subscribe, and hopefully I shall catch you in the next video. Bye!